What's up? How you doing? Here I am with my daughter Amanda.
Hi.
Thursday night. Not Thanksgiving, but it's Thursday night. The week is almost over again, evaporating into nothingness. I'm shining my shoes. I highly recommend these. These are Georgia Giant boots. My second pair. I was very happy with the first. That's why I got the second pair. When they break in, they're extremely comfortable, very durable. Tough, you know. I beat on them every day, and they go through everything I put them through. So I'm gonna polish them now. I added a dye on them 2 days ago. Let it dry for 24 hours at least, and now I'm gonna add some polish. The best polish I can find. What's it called here? Saphir. What's that smell like?
Firewood with gasoline.
This is not your father's shoe polish. Your father used kiwi. This is better. So, polish them up. So, ever since I was very little, probably predating kindergarten, I had a fascination with the universe, physics, and a couple of things that really fascinated me as a kid and still do to this day. What is the universe held inside of? So let's say this is the universe. What is here? What is it expanding into? When I was little, I would constantly think of this, and I imagined myself at the edge of the universe and then hitting a wall, and you couldn't go any further. It was this wall. But even that, what is that wall? Not that that wall exists, but even if you think of the edge of the universe and then there's something there, what's beyond that? What's after that? And what's after that and after that? I mean, you can do that all day long. What's after that? What's after that? So that would always make me curious, and I would constantly think of that my whole life. What is the universe expanding into? The other thing that I would constantly think about, nothingness. What about if there was nothing? And when I say nothing, I mean no planets, no stars, no quasars, no black holes, no atoms, no protons, no electrons, no neutrons, no photons, nothing, nothing. And somebody would say, well, that's easy. You picture empty space. But I go beyond that. I don't mean nothing but empty space. Like if I emptied out this room right now, it would be just air and the four walls and the ceiling and the floor, and that would be it. But the rest of it would be empty. But what about if there was no space at all? Nothing. I can go all the way down to a pinhead, and I can imagine that. But then what surrounds the pinhead? If the universe was the size of a pinhead, what would be around that? So for me, it's very difficult to have a concept of what nothing is. Absolute nothing. Not nothing, just the void, where you remove all the elements of the universe, dark matter, antimatter, all the solid objects, all the atoms, and then look around and say, oh, it's just empty now, dark and empty. What about nothingness, like no empty space, no space at all? What would you have? That's something that constantly goes around in my head, the concept of nothingness. Imagine no reality, no humanity, no nothing. And that's a double negative, so no anything. And then you look around and you say to yourself, everything that you see in the universe, now they're estimating there are 2 trillion galaxies out there, and each galaxy probably has 100 billion to 200 billion stars on average. Where did all that material come from? Maybe it always existed. Maybe the universe just self-recycles and has always been. Maybe that's the default of reality, that the universe always existed. But then you got to think, are there other universes? Are there multiverses? Other things that aren't universes, but other realities somewhere else, in another dimension, another part of whatever the universe is held inside of. So, yeah, you never get an answer because there is no answer. You can't discover something like that. There's no laws of physics that can give you an answer. There's nothing. So you just keep wondering your whole life. thinking about this stuff. So you got to keep exploring, but that's something that you can never get an answer for. Where did all this material come from? And if it's always been here, why is it always here? What made it in the first place? And I mean real answers, not you know, made up answers. Shine these up, get them in walking condition. So when I look up at the sky at night, I realize that when you look and you see the 30,000 stars when you're in the desert and it's really dark and you can see all the little stars, that's only if the galaxy was this big down to scale, about that big, you're only looking at a little corner about the size of a quarter. You don't see the rest of it with the naked eye. And up until 100 years ago, they thought that the Milky Way was it. That was it. There was nothing else beyond the Milky Way. So, you know, now we're talking 2 trillion galaxies. Some people still say, oh, there's hundreds of billions of them, but the latest number I've heard is 2 trillion. And every decade or so, they keep discovering more. And I wouldn't be surprised in, you know, another 10 years, they're going to be like, yeah, there's actually 5 trillion. And the whole thing with infinity, somebody will say, well, the universe is infinite. There's no end to it. It goes on forever. How can something that has a beginning be infinite? I mean, if you're expanding, you're always finite. There's always a measurement you can take of the universe and say, okay, now it's 95 billion light years, you know, long. Now it's 100 billion light years. Now it's 2 trillion light years, 5 trillion, 10 trillion, you know, 10 dectillion, you know, 100 dectillion light years across. There's always a number you can point to. But when you say infinite, how do you get from this to infinite? That makes no sense. Infinity is very difficult to grasp. I mean, it's impossible to grasp. And then again, what is the universe held into is difficult to grasp just as, you know, just as much. So shining these up. And make them look like brand new. All right, we're gonna do a little homework now, so we're gonna say good night here. Good night.